From your experience, can you share a story where you led product development and that journey, which something that others can learn from? So share an example.
Fortunately, I would, and again, fortunately, because I'm a product guy from the get-go. Like everything that I worked on with the companies from my start of the career, it was all focused around the product. So I was always aligned with like, hey, we need to build a product that does something, right? And something good and it's helpful to the users and everything. I've been part of like 2 startups and both product companies, and I'm going to talk about the last one. Obviously, like when you're doing a startup, there's a lot of learning, right? From the day one when you're trying to build something, right? And there are a lot of unknowns. I think there is a lot of learning, like if you took like from like, a startup, company which has gone through the whole process of like building a product and acquisition that we had like for almost like after like 12 years of running the business. But I think the most important thing has to be that you have to have like a very clear vision in terms of like, what's your North Star, and have the complete team, right? Whether it's like business or sales or engineering or product, like completely aligned towards that. I think that's the most important thing. And I talked to a lot of startups to like even today, like, as a mentor. And sometimes I come across people as like, hey, we're trying to build something and we have the MVP in mind and we're going to build this or X or something. It's like, hey, what's beyond that? Oh, we'll figure it out. I was like, no, that's not how it works, right? What's your end goal? What's the product that you're trying to build, right? Look at that, nail it down, work backwards, now figure out saying that, hey, what is going to be the MVP? Right. And so the point I'm trying to make is that crystal clear vision is extremely important. Then, the other thing is like, your development methodology, right? What is the framework that you're following, right? So I think all of that learning has come together. And again, it is not just one example of like, a good way of building product, but this is like all that kind of comes and rolls in. And this is like what I have learned through all my experience. So I don't know if I can give you like one particular example, but again, all of this thing, like you have to have the innovation in place. You have to have the right process in place in terms of like, what your team is, like how distributed it is, like globally, how big and small it is, right? What works for them, what doesn't work for them. Continuous learning is extremely important, right? I mean, the day you think that, hey, we know good enough and then we can sustain and survive and we can run this for 10 years, you're done, right? Every day has to be like something new that has to come or get accounted for in terms of, learning, whether it's like a process or a skill or just like, very small thing, right? So I think these are all elements about how to build like a good product company or a good product team, a sustainable product team that you can run like for a long time.
That provides a variety of answers. So I want to go through a few of these if possible. You talked about having a North Star. You talked about getting alignment. You talked about having the processes in place, knowing further when you're ready to scale distribution. So there are many elements. If you were to pick 1 or 2 things to first prioritize on, what would be those 1 or 2 things? And then we'll go deeper into each of those.
So it varies. If you're looking at a startup, the different way to look at it. If you're looking like a big organization, well-established company, part of like a product which is already there and you want to scale it, then there is a little bit. But the first thing is like that North Star, right? That one goal, right? What is that vision, right? That has to be, it doesn't matter if it's like a startup or a big organization, whatever, right? The second most important thing is like, what's the team that you have? I mean, it matters a lot in terms of like, who are the people that you're working with? One set of group is the people that, hey, they're doing the job because they have to do the job, right? The other set of group is like type of people are like, hey, there is a meaning to the efforts they want to put, right? Their time is valuable and that's how they see it, not that I or somebody else see it. The team sees that, hey, my time is valuable. Doesn't matter what stage of career I'm in, right? Whether I'm like fresh out of college or whatever, right? But my time is important. Where do I put that time? And I'm putting that time to something, building something meaningful. If you come from that front, that's like an awesome team. So those are, I would say, like the 2 big elements, anything and everything. If you have 2 things right in place, you got like 67% chances of success, like, from the get-go.
You have done this so many times, so it seems very straightforward. I was going to ask you to elaborate on the North Star, but I'm going to keep that second.
Okay.
I think some of the things that you have shared with me in the past, how you connected with people, how you led your teams in the realm of product development. Can you speak to, first, someone who's brand new to the organization, brand new to the industry? How do you go and get them aligned on the product development milestones, the North Star? How do you talk to that person? So let's call that person with a name. Let that person be Suraj, right? You're talking to me, I'm brand new. How do you get me aligned with your product development goals and milestones?
So I think it all begins with, let's say, if I'm trying to align you, it all begins from me, first of all, right? Like it's like this mindfulness also, right? It's about you. It's not about the other person, right? So first of all, how does Suraj looks at me? Does Suraj know me as a person, right? Have I established that trust in Suraj, right? Have I been authentic to Suraj, that Suraj can trust me in what I say? Otherwise, those are just words that, hey, any leader or any manager would come and speak, and those going to be words, and it's not going to have that much of impact. But if I have established that trust and I have built that relationship with Suraj in this particular example, then yes, it becomes easier to say that, hey, this is our North Star, and this is what the strategy in place is, right? And we want you on board on this, and let's have a conversation about it. What do you see? And again, it is not like me telling Suraj, it's like asking Suraj, hey, what do you see that how we can improve the strategy, or we can make some changes? I mean, if not now, like, along the lines, and how can I include you as part of, that cohort who also is unable to take some decisions in terms of like, where we are headed. Once you empower Suraj, right? And again, that then automatically things starts like aligning, and collaboration like automatically just happens. Versus like, hey, we're trying to do this. This is the strategy. We got to put things in place, get your team aligned. We work towards that. We meet every week or we see what the status is, right? Let's go. That doesn't work so good.
It actually doesn't work.